We're here with Janet Irwin, who's the director and producer.
Yes.
Of Up to Low.
And adapter.
And adapter, wearing lots of hats in this show.
Too many.
Too many hats. Now, before we talk about this exciting project, though, we have to congratulate you on winning this big Ottawa Arts Council Award, the Victor Tolghese.
Tolghese, I think.
Tolghese, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Actually,
Well,
I think it's Tolghese. Well, Tolghese maybe.
It's a huge honor.
Yeah.
Goes to local artists who contribute substantially to the community every year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, congratulations. It must have been a shock.
Total shock. My jaw just, I had to pick it up off the floor.
Well, those of us who know you and work with you weren't surprised at all.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
Really thrilled for you.
That's great.
And super thrilled about this upcoming production. And I have a bit of a conflict of interest because I'm in this show, but...
Shall I get rid of you?
So I'll leave, exactly, and you can just monologue for the next 10 minutes.
Stay.
But we're really excited about the show. And before we talk about the production itself and Magnetic North and all of those things, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the story of Up to Low. What's the story about?
The story's about a young boy, early adolescent, Brian Doyle, who wrote the novel on which we're basing this, tends to write for that young adult age group. There's usually a young narrator, and this is Tommy. We're in 1950. Tommy's mother has died 2 years earlier, and they are going back to the family cabin on the Gatineau River for the first time since that happened. So it's the summertime, and you know that's a delicate transition to make, to go back in time, or to go back to a place where the person who's very important to you is no longer there. So they, Dad and Tommy and Frank, their friend, drive up to Low. The first third of the story, or first third of our play, is it's a wild ride. It's a wild ride up to every bar between Lower Town Ottawa and Low Quebec, in Frank's nice brand new 1950 Buick Special. Unfortunately, the driving isn't all that good, and the car suffers with pretty well every building they encounter. So they arrive up in Low, and then it turns into much more an adventure story where Tommy is reunited with a young girl whom he really liked, whose father has disappeared, and she has a physical problem. She has only one arm, and that came from an accident that her father was involved in. And she feels if she can find her father, reconcile with him, she'll be healed. And basically that's it. Basically that's it. It's the story of one remarkable summer where a young boy who had a lot of fears and sorrows of, you know, a teenager, gains courage, steps up, helps his friend, sees himself finally as the hero that he never thought he would be.
Sounds beautiful.
It's a lovely story.
Amazingly relatable too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we talk about Low, because we want to talk about that, but let's talk a little bit about Brian Doyle, because a lot of people here in Ottawa know who Brian is. Some people may not.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about Brian Doyle?
Brian Doyle is a novelist of, as I said, this age group, primarily. He also is a columnist. Adults will have read him in the Ottawa Citizen, Confessions of a Depression Baby, Confessions of an Itinerant Writing Teacher, or not quite that title, but he's very funny. Adults also like his books for young people because his humor is quite subversive and just a little wry. So Brian is, he's written, I don't know, between 12 and 15 books. They've been translated, I think, into maybe 10 different languages. He's known internationally, maybe more known internationally than nationally, as sometimes happens.
As is often the case.
Yes, but he's won many awards, Canadian and international, and he's really one of our treasures. His beat is Lower Town, Ottawa, where he grew up, or where he would spend his earlier years, and a lot of it is the Gatineau Valley and the Ottawa Valley. He always writes about topical things. He's written about child abuse, he's written about bedwetting, he's written about battles up in the Gatineau. It's incredibly diverse, but always about the delicacy of a young person's feelings watching the world around him. So it's a really, I love him because I think what he does for adults is takes us all back to that moment where anything is possible if we can overcome our fears. and the world is a place we need to find out about. So I feel that at any age you can revisit that moment and bring your own experience to that and learn something new about yourself and the world.
And how much of this world of Up to Low is about his childhood?
I think that there's always a very strong seed of Brian's childhood in here. I don't know that there was ever a little girl whose arm was cut off. I have, however, seen a picture of Dad's friend Frank, or the character who, inspired that. I think a lot of it is because he deals a lot with family. Brian's family came as Irish immigrants, poor Irish immigrants, to the Gatineau, lived on the land for several generations, and that is the background for this book. So I would say he mines his own story and he keeps dealing out the cards slightly differently.
Right.
But it's always a deck of cards that he knows well, and the people whom he understands extremely well, and the humor that is just in his bones.
And he introduces us to worlds that we really should know more about.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been living here now for, well, not really long, but 5 or 6 years, but I learned so much about this history of the Gatineau from this story.
Yeah.
Can you maybe talk a little bit about the character of that part of the province, and some of the characters just seem larger than life?
The area about which Brian is writing it carries all the sort of mystique of the river and the mountains and the incredible beauty. So one of the things that's been interesting in adapting this is to try to capture that spirit of the Gatineau. The people are, in this story, largely Irish derived, some French, but in that part of Western Quebec at that time in 1950, this community was more the Irish. They're storytellers, maybe tall tale tellers. They may embroider the truth a bit.
And some of that tall tale telling is coming across in the style of this particular show, right? That's
right. The community is a gabby lot, and there is a lot of news and a lot of gossip going around.
And it's not a conventional production in that. It's there is more storytelling and music.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the style of the show?
Yes, we're rather than doing it so that the audience is looking at the play from our vantage point of a proscenium or a normal, the most usual setup, we are presenting our story as if it were a runway cutting through the audience with people sitting on either side. So there'll be people at bar tables along the highway, basically, that the story is on, and also in seats. And it'll feel a bit like being in an Ottawa Valley pub. We have a bar, you can have soft drinks, beer, wine, whatever. There'll be fiddle music, there'll be lovely, Ian Tamblin is doing the music, so we have 3 very good musicians. And all from the Gatineau side.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we're going to have some fun. I hope you come and see Up to Low. It opens May 21st. Our actual formal opening is May 23rd, and we run until June 6th at the Arts Court Studio. It's a great time. It's for families. It's for young people. I would say kids 11 and up, and kids up to 110. You'll enjoy it. Thank you.